Welcome everyone to the SaaS community YouTube channel. Today I have with me Eva Nahari. Eva is a principal at DNX Ventures. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, Gwen, it's my pleasure. I'm super excited.
Yeah, same. And Eva and I have known each other for a long time, and one of the things I recently discovered is that Eva is not just an investor. She has a very unique thesis around what makes B2B SaaS companies a lot more successful than others. And for me, it was mind-blowing, and I just want Eva to share her idea with everyone.
Well, thank you, Gwen. I think you're alluding to my recent appearance at the SaaS conference and how wrapping my head around the digitalization impact on customer success and my thoughts around that particular area. There's actually some really important things happening that I see many SaaS companies not preparing themselves for. And that's what I want to put out there to the world so more companies can be more successful.
Yeah, so it's like an idea of how to make companies successful, and then there is also just an explosion on tools, and I hope to explore both with you, and maybe additional takeaways out of SaaS, where I heard it was just a very exciting event. So let's start with what makes SaaS companies a lot more successful.
What does SaaS? So I want to first highlight that part of as companies have moved to be more digital, and they do so for the right reasons. I mean, it's an incredible business opportunity to reach a larger market, not geographically limited. You can be up 24/7 with your services and products. And of course, everybody wants to move into digital world. And that's where SaaS comes in too. You offer your business processes and business optimization and unique product offerings in a SaaS model. And what many companies don't realize is how this changes the customer expectation and customer not only on time for transaction or time to complete a task, but it becomes how do I formulate this easily? It becomes a new way of interaction. Imagine yourself, you go to a store, yeah, and you want to buy something. You walk around, you try to find it. Maybe you ask someone for help, but it's your experience. Is your expectation of the experience is it's going to take a certain time, and then you're at the cashier, you kind of make your transaction, it takes a certain time. Now map that to an online experience. You want as quickly as possible finding what you're looking for. You want as quickly as possible that the transaction goes through, and definitely you want the inventory to be there. You want everything to just work. There's no tolerance, there's no mistake tolerance, there's no, oh, there's a little glitch here, I'm going to stand here and wait. At least me personally, I get really pissed off if things don't work online. But if it doesn't work in a store, I have more patience. It's just, I'm the same person, but the experience shifts my expectation on service. And I'm using the store example to make a point. Yeah, the customer expectation on what?
Sorry, I cut you off. I was thinking like it's almost like Google and Amazon spoiled us.
Yes,
everything.
Absolutely. It's like this instant service expectation. And I think that is what companies sometimes are missing in preparing for SaaS experiences, that everything should just work and service should be instant. There's no wait time, there's no tolerance, there's no patience online. And with that comes the other side of the coin, which is that the customers meet you online. They don't meet you through a salesperson anymore. There's not that personal connection that gives that room and elasticity for mistakes and wait time and a product perhaps not working exactly as expected. It will take some time to get this feature and you have a little wiggle room. No, online, there's not a person in that cycle. The customer or the user meets you online and wants instant return on investment, instant gratification. It's almost like the gaming generation. If it doesn't work, if it doesn't show you value immediately, if everything isn't there exactly when you need it, then they turn somewhere else. So it's shifted the market completely, how you compete and also how you have to manage that customer relationship. There's no person there. There's a product. So how do you meet the customer and create a relationship with a person? Because that is all research points that relationship, how you feel about a brand, how you build a relationship with the brand is actually heavily influencing how you purchase, how you make a decision to use this product over another product. So how do you manage that relationship when the other side of the relationship is your online service? That is the challenge that many companies are missing.
Yeah, and you brought up two things into view, right? The idea of time until your users see value, which has to become shorter and shorter. And I think that's what caught my eye in your SaaS presentation, that like time for your customers to get value is a metric that SaaS should be optimized for. And I don't know if a lot of companies even know how to measure that. And then you're saying, hey, that's not even that. While they're trying to get value as early as possible, you also need to make them like you. Essentially, the product has to be likable.
Yeah, I have this three-circle Venn diagram of sorts, where one circle is the experience with the brand, and one circle is the experience with the service, meaning support or customer success, and one circle is the experience with the product. And all that comes into the new model, what a customer cares about. And in the overlapping little midsection of that three-circle Venn diagram is the customer experience. And what SaaS companies will need to compete on is that customer experience.
So if you had tips for people who are trying to improve on that, what would it be?
I would say there are three shifts that if you keep them in mind, it will help you make better and wiser decisions. One is that the new revenue center is not sales, it's customer success.
This is mind blowing. You have to explain it a bit more.
Well, think about it. Instead of a dedicated renewal sales force, where the people-to-people interaction happen, that's not going to happen anymore. The customer meet you online. Their first experience is with the product. If they can't understand your product there, if they can't onboard themselves, you're going to lose the business. So part of it is also user experience. But in the end, when the customer runs into hurdles, they will contact support, or they will be proactively reached out to by customer success. And that is the person-to-person relationship that will be the throat to choke for the customer when things go wrong, when their expectations aren't met. The relationship management now is on customer success. And that will be the new renewal center, but also the new growth center. Customer success used to be the reactive, the counterpart to reactive support by being proactively going out and evangelizing best practices, helping customers after sale to actually adopt the product. That was the role in the past. But now it's about keeping them happy, anticipating churn, understanding patterns of usage, bring it back to product to actually optimize that user experience, that customer experience, because that's how the company will survive. And not only that, but also enable more usage, create why isn't this customer using this feature? Maybe they need education. That's the new relationship management role. And customer success will need a lot of investment in relationship management tooling and a different way of thinking to meet the very delicate, growth and revenue expectations when a company goes SaaS.
This is just resonates as very true, just from my experience. And it almost feels like the missing leg of product-led growth. Everyone wants to do product-led growth. I don't think anyone yet described it as actually product-led growth can be seen as customer success-led growth, because customer success are the one who interact the most with the customer under this model.
Yeah.
And it also almost changes what relationship means. Like I'm thinking like in the old world, salespeople would take you out maybe to dinner, maybe get you tickets to a ball game, like all those kind of things. I don't think customers still expect this from a relationship at all, right?
You can see it as there's also like this new technically knowledgeable generation of decision makers, right?
Yeah.
That grew up with technology. They don't need that band-aid of translating what this product is going to do for you. I think, truth be told, I still think enterprise sales is needed for products that cross organizational lines, where the organizations themselves need help to see and reach how they can make a purchase decision. I still admire account executives who understands to navigate organizations, understands the need on the bigger picture, and drives a decision to help organizations accelerate and really help those organizations succeed. But in a product-led growth scenario, especially fueled by the pandemic, where you couldn't meet in person anymore, so customers had to go and serve themselves and onboard themselves and figure things out online themselves. There wasn't that connection needed anymore. They found a faster way because no one had energy to be on yet another Zoom call with a salesperson. There was a fatigue that led people into path of directly seeking their solutions online themselves. And I think that fueled the whole digitalization by years. And speaking of product, product is no longer something you download and install and maintain yourself.
Yeah.
It should always work. It should just be there. Someone else is providing this to me. So the expectation on IT support is also changing. The product should just support itself, right? So SaaS companies also miss to invest in self-healing, troubleshooting ease, and measuring all these bottlenecks with the customer touch points. There's a whole other opportunity in SaaS to actually measure and map out the customer journey for every touch point they do with your product or website. But on the other hand, it also should work. And that expectation the volume has kind of been pulled up 10x on that front. And I think that puts pressure on the IT support of things. The backend support of things need to be automated and proactive. And there shouldn't be a need to open a support ticket. It should just automatically collect what happened. And in that moment where the customer is, that's where the context should be captured. That's where the customer should give feedback. And then he or she should be done with it, right? There shouldn't be a context switch to go and open a support ticket somewhere else. Because what does that mean? Well, it means minutes or hours lost from using your product. And in a SaaS world, using your product is revenue. So if you don't meet the customers where they are and keep this troubleshooting and automatic fixing, self-healing, or capturing the context to actually provide a fix automatic, then you will directly lose revenue because the customer needs to go somewhere else to fix their problem through your support service or whatever. And I think that shift is also something companies miss, that when a user is interrupted in a task, that's actually revenue loss risk. Either they have to context switch and open a support ticket and deal with that, or they just give up and go somewhere else, because in the digital world, competition is everywhere. It's in the same room.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of amazing. Like you're talking about multiple industry shifts, and now like the latest was basically from being very reactive is that it has to be proactive and it will accelerate it. Being proactive support is not just like another feature, it accelerates revenue for everyone. And I'm just thinking that there is also an explosion on the number of personas that a company interacts with, right? Because I'm thinking like in the old world, the salesperson will sell to the buying manager, probably someone out of IT. And then if I'm a user of the product and I have an issue, I would go to my IT manager, he would open a ticket, he would talk to his contacts. But the entire company from which I bought the service, they would only talk to the IT managers. They would not talk to the user. Nowadays, if it's in the product and you have this chat box where I can ask questions, like if you have, if you sold to one company and they have 5,000 people using the product, any one of them could essentially open a ticket, ask questions, and would benefit from you proactively reaching out to them. So it's like a very multifaceted relationship, and like a lot of interaction, each one of them really counts.
That brings something else to my mind. So I talk a lot with startup entrepreneurs, of course, which I love, and especially in this space, if they innovate for the next wave of customer success and preemptive support, I am all ears. That's my favorite topic, because I want to invest in this area so that the whole SaaS wave that I shouldn't say wave, the SaaS tsunami that's coming our way, they need technology and innovation that will help them survive. So
Which brings me to my second point. There's such an explosion in the number of I'll call it next generation support tools. The ones that say we use a lot of machine learning, we try to be more proactive, we try to give customers better experience without necessarily involving humans in the get-go, so it can be faster, more proactive. I'm seeing a really explosion in that space. And I was wondering, like, if I'm a customer success manager and I'm evaluating the right tools for my company to pick, what should I be looking at? Like, how do I even evaluate all those things?
So of course you should look at the technology that we've invested in. Can I say that? This is not a sales pitch, but I truly believe we've invested in some fantastic companies that will help transform how this whole, I don't see it just as customer success. I see it as customer success, automated troubleshooting and incident management, and then preemptive support. I see it as a wheel where everything comes together. And one of our investments, if I may, is Quark.ai, and they are on the preemptive support space. They actually meet the customer where they are, and the customer just have to basically put in what they're trying to do in that moment, and back comes recommended actual resolutions based on other things that has happened in the SaaS platform before. So any repository of knowledge gets presented in the top 5 most likely resolutions. So it's a resolution recommendation engine, much more advanced on the back end. But this is a way to meet customers where they are and even avoid a ticket being open, because they get the answer right there, right then when they need it. The second company is squadcast.com. They are SRE democratized, meaning you can't have a team anymore fully dedicated fixing incidents when they happen, especially with the continuous delivery culture going on. You have to have everybody involved in incident management and understand the impact it has on the company to ship low quality code. You have to help build a resilience first culture. And I think the tooling, the guided workflow based on best practices of SRE of today, which is continuously evolving, Squadcast has nailed that experience so that any engineer can be part of better resilience culture and immediately fixing incidents without being flooded of noise of thousands of microservices spitting out, issue notifications and alert everywhere. So I think cleaning up that troubleshooting and the incident management side and making it part of a SaaS engineering culture on a daily basis is much more what these SaaS companies will need forward than the old traditional, IT-based notification systems like PagerDuty or Opsgenie or other kind of more traditional systems. I think SRE needs to modernize just as much as support needs to modernize. And the last piece of the puzzle, the customer success, is a blank sheet. I'm actually looking for my investment there. So feel free to contact me.
I will hold you up to that. Yeah, it's kind of amazing how you're kind of bringing in all those areas of real pain points, like customer onboarding is a real pain point, making customers really seamless with your product is a real pain point. SRE and resilience culture. It's like, I feel like we'll need another session just to talk about it. It's such a hot area, and for fairly obvious reasons, like people have very strong feelings about it. I think a lot of people feel like it's maybe their job, maybe their work experience, like how they show up at work every day, what they work on, what they focus on. It's all very deeply tied into those aspects. Like it basically covers everything from customer facing all the way to what happens in meetings in your own company, which is kind of a very, very large scope of the world to be changing all at once.
Yeah, and the world is really changing. And I think the pandemic just fueled it 10x. How we need to work in a more distributed, work from anywhere kind of culture, it becomes even more important. To your other part of your question, like how does a success manager even evaluate what tools? Well, you have to think about a distributed team that works from anywhere. Any tool that helps the process without having to wait for someone else, I think is a good starting point. And then I think machine learning, yeah, it helps, but think of it this way, it has to be domain specific, and there has to be a great ton of data to train on for machine learning to be production viable. So my thesis is a little ML goes a long way. I would not invest in anything that takes like 6 months to train before value comes back. It's about getting to return on investment quickly. So you need companies like Quark that requires very little training because they have such a genius model and pre-trained decision engine beforehand that can run on commodity priced hardware. It needs to be easy in this new world. It needs to be thinking distributed, how people that may not be able to communicate in enough overlapping time zone, they can still get it intuitively and collaborate. There's a lot about distributed collaboration right now that needs to be supported through very innovative, easy to use and easy to self-onboard tooling.
I love how it brings us all the way back to the beginning, right? I mean, the tools you buy to make your customer's life faster and easier and bring faster time to value for your customers. You also want the same thing for yourself, and you demand the same thing from your vendors. And then your team expects it. So they're thinking, how do I not block, not myself, not my customer? How do we allow everyone to be productive really, really fast as possible? So then we all want the exact same thing. Like, I think I like the empathy aspect of it.
Yeah, and then it comes down to the people. If we enable the people to do more with less, then everybody will succeed. So I think keep it simple, keep it easy, and a little ML goes a long way.
And keep it fast. I like that. I think that's a great point to close off.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the discussion. I don't think I've ever learned that much in 20 minutes.
I tried to push everything in there.
Yeah, no, literally my mind is blown from all of those great ideas, and I love having my mind blown. So it's just, I really appreciate this.
Thanks for having me, Gwen. It was a pleasure, and I look forward to watching your other episodes forward.
Thank you.